you don't know me, I'll do a brief introduction and we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Margie Kendall. So I work with Boone Street Market and Jonesborough Farmers Market doing events and promotions for them, doing a little bit of fundraising, working with our membership program. I do a lot of this virtually, so I do a lot of our social media stuff behind the scenes. And so I'm excited to kind of show you some of the stuff that I have learned throughout the years working with not only them. You heard me chatting with David. So I previously was the director of the cooking school at Serenity Knoll Farm, where David is. And then also, I have certifications in social media marketing from Northwestern that I've worked on. And so I'm constantly trying to learn new things about what's going on in the social media world, which can be kind of tricky because it is often changing. Before we get started too, just so I don't know all of you, and just in case you guys don't know each other, can you guys go ahead and start and just say your name, say your farm, and then if you don't mind letting me know what social media platforms your farms are currently using, your farms or food businesses are currently using. So David, you want to go first?
Yes, I'm David Wiley. I'm the owner of Serenity Knoll Farm in Washington County, just 5 miles from downtown Jonesborough, and it's a 10-acre piece of ground that has about a half an acre in cultivation in the ground, and an event space with a 800 square foot 2-level commercial kitchen, which Margie and I in the spring of 2018 started the Serenity Knoll Cooking School, and she would still be here today, except she's having a family. Anyway, we just recently, congratulations on number 2. And we just recently invested in 10 commercial tower gardens, and we're currently growing food aeroponically in our greenhouse, and that's going very well, and we're excited to get back to the business of food education here and growing food. So there you go.
And what social media platforms are you guys using at Serenity Knoll right now?
We are still using Instagram and Facebook and our own website, and I have been studying the TikTok platform, and I think it has a lot of possibilities. I do follow quite a few people and admire their work as it relates to food and farming, and that would be our next foray into social media, would be TikTok.
Great. I'll briefly talk about TikTok too. All right, Merle, can you go next?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if
Merle, you're breaking up now. I could hear you for a second, but now it's breaking up quite a bit. Merle, we're not hearing you for some reason. That's okay. If you just want to type in the chat box, just so I know, I actually don't know which farm you're with. You could just type in what farm and what social media platforms you're using in the chat box. That'll be good. We can all see that then.
Yeah,
Oh, there, I see your face now. Hey.
Okay, sorry, I was trying to figure it out here.
There you go. I'm hearing now too.
Okay. I'm Merle with Green Pasture Farm.
Oh, great.
I grow hydroponic, specialize in hydroponic lettuce and tomatoes. And then I have a hat tree as well and do some things out in the field then during the summer. And as far as what I use, so right now, mainly Facebook. I use Instagram a little bit, but I don't push it on Instagram.
Okay.
So Facebook is the main one.
Got it. All right. Thanks. Thank you. All right, Philip, you gonna go next?
Yes. And by the way, you're seeing my good side. So, I don't have enough bandwidth to do much video, but Philip Ottinger with Buffalo Trail Orchard. We've got apples, peaches, blackberries, blueberries, 2 pumpkins, fall squash type deal. We primarily use Facebook and our own website.
Great. All right, thank you guys. And then again, just a little more about me too. I run the social media for both Boone Street Market and Jonesborough Farmers Market right now. We use Facebook, we use Instagram as well. I just started a TikTok for us. I haven't really used much of it. I'll talk about that a little bit later, mostly just to create video content. So I'll talk to you a little bit about that later on. But we're gonna go ahead and get started now. So I'm gonna share my screen. And we're gonna go through a little presentation. I'm gonna be talking about a few different tips and tricks. I'm gonna show you guys some good examples of things. We're gonna kind of go through it slowly. You guys, it's a small group, so I want it to feel interactive. So you guys have questions at any point if I'm running through stuff too quickly. Please do stop me at any point. You can raise your hand in the thing, type in a chat. I'll look in the chat box, or, Emily, if you see anything in the chat box that I happen to miss, just go ahead and, jump in and interrupt me and just let me know in case I missed that. But I really hope you guys get something out of this today. That's my daughter in the background. So she's making dinner with my husband right now. So just so you know what that is. No, it's fine. Don't worry. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. All right. Alrighty. You guys see that all right? Just thumbs up if you guys see that. Thumbs up. Okay, great. Okay. So first of all, I also want to thank you guys for being flexible with changing the date. I actually woke up on last Wednesday morning, unexpectedly found out my grandmother had passed away. It was quite a shock for my family. It was just a pretty rough day for me being away from my family. So I did want to take the day to sort of connect with them. So I really appreciate you guys. Just with your flexibility. I really hate canceling stuff, but I was in a really rough spot. I'm good now. I got to see my sister over the weekend, so that really helps. So just thanks for your flexibility, and I'm excited to do this with you guys today. So again, this is our first social media workshop. We may do some more in-depth ones if you guys have an interest in that, so do let me know. But again, I gave a little brief introduction to myself already. So, I work right now with the markets, just doing some marketing events and promotions. I send the newsletters right now. And then, I previously was at the Serenity Knoll Farm. I started the cooking school alongside David. So I worked with them to launch the cooking school, do all the promotions for that as well. I'm certified in social media marketing, which, at the time when I did that, which was about 5 years ago now, the whole social media world has changed. It's constantly evolving. So I always love to do new workshops and learn what's going on in the world. I love working with brands on their social media, especially in food and beverage. That's always my big focus. So so at the farmers market, I just love working with them too. I work with a couple other local businesses here in the Tri-Cities area. Most recently, Watauga Brewing Company and their restaurant. So I did their website and I've worked on their social media as well. And I also teach my own virtual cooking classes. So I work on some of that too. So it's all food related, all like doing food photography with my phone and stuff. So I have a lot of things that I want to share with you guys. But again, I'm always learning. So I always want to learn more. So if you guys have ideas for us too, or just some questions on things that I don't cover today, please do let me know. And I feel pretty comfortable with these platforms. I'm personally active on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So I can answer a lot of questions about those things. And those are really the four that is like a food or farm business that you should really focus on. There's other ones like Twitter and Snapchat and things. Those aren't really going to be greatly beneficial necessarily for, food and farming businesses. That's not really where people who would look for your content are going to be, searching for it. Those four are the ones that would be the most relevant at this point. So let's first talk about like your feeds. So again, when I say your feed, that just means like your Facebook feed, your Instagram feed, and I'll talk specifically about each platform. I'm going to talk mostly about Facebook and Instagram today because those two are the most widely used, not only by your businesses too, but also by people who would be looking for your products as well. So for us, this is what I'm going to talk about here in this slide is a little bit what would be helpful for us at the market as well. Our whole mission at Jonesborough Locally Grown is to help you guys succeed. We're here to elevate you. We want to promote you. And so what's really helpful for us too is when you guys are sharing photos of your current available products. And so you'll see us often resharing those things too from different vendors who are sure to tag us. So that's the second bullet point there. It is really important that you guys, are tagging Boone Street Market or Jonesborough Farmers Market, whichever market you guys are working with or both, because that alerts us to being able to see it. Sometimes I'll go through, as the market, I follow a lot of your farms already, but if I'm not going to check up on your page every day, I might miss some of your current available products. But if you tag us in them, either the markets, then they pop up, in fact, they pop up on my phone. So just personally when that happens, so I can see it and then say, oh, this is great. Green Pasture just, picked a bunch of tomatoes to drop off at Boone Street Market, take a picture, tag us in it, share it with your customers, and then we can see it and reshare it with them as well. So, and you don't want to just tag us too. I mean, we want you to tag us because, we work with you guys as vendors, but you want to tag some other relevant like businesses and nonprofits that you work with, other farmers markets that you provide product to. I know some of you guys work at, provide products to other markets in the area too. So tagging all of them, they're in the same boat as us, where they really appreciate seeing your current products as well. And also, it's really great to tag other relevant ones, like, if you're a Tennessee vendor, you're tagging, if you're a Pick TN products, tag Tennessee Farmers Markets, the Tennessee Association of Farmers Markets, because they also will reshare your stuff, which allows a wide range of possible customers or people in the States to learn about you and then see your products.
Hey, Margie.
Yeah.
Can you explain how to tag, or are you going to get to that later?
Yeah, I could do that now. So, on both Facebook and Instagram, you just type in that @ button and then start to type it out. Sometimes you got to be a little finicky with it. It's easier on Instagram than it is on Facebook, believe it or not, especially Facebook mobile. It's really tough. Sometimes you have to type it with spaces, and if you don't find them, type it without spaces and see what happens. But then just type the business you're looking for. For Facebook, it's going to be the / on their URL. So you could go check on their page. I can go to like Serenity Knoll Farms page and see what their / on their URL is. And that's exactly what I need to type after that @ sign. And same thing with Instagram. It's just going to be their exact account. And if you're already following them, it's likely to just pop up. So just type that @ sign, tag them in that, and that will help it. That will help us see it. What's harder for us to see sometimes too is if you tag us as a location. So if you were to say like you're at Boone Street Market, it's easier to see it if you tag us in your actual text rather than saying you're like at the location.
Can you demonstrate?
Yeah, definitely.
At some point.
I'm gonna put that. I'm gonna go off my share. I'm gonna go onto Facebook in a little bit. I'll put that note here to show at the end of the slide here. And the other thing, I'm going to be showing a lot of like photo examples a little bit later, so we'll get more in depth in this, but also taking photos of your products in use too. So we get a lot, for us, this is helpful for us. So I know it's helpful for other vendors who use your products as well. And your customers can visually see what they can do with it. Showing, a photo of like your food, a salad using your lettuce, or, roasted squash on a dinner table, and say, oh, this is our, butternut squash that we did. I roasted it, with some cinnamon and butter and salt, pepper for, just showing us what your product looks like when it's done is also really helpful than just showing like, oh, here's a squash you can buy. Like, I mean, that's good. People want to see it, but then, some people aren't really sure what they would do with something like that. So it's nice to really give them a visual for like how they can actually use that. So let me show you just a quick on Facebook how to actually tag people here. We'll go to my personal Facebook. We're here. So if I was going to type a status here, what's on my mind, I can say, here is our newest crop of lettuce. We will be delivering, I don't know why I'm typing all this up. We'll be delivering to, then I'll tag Boone Street Market. I'll type in then Boone Street, see that this pops up, Boone Street Market later this week. And then I would, include my photo right here. So it's tagged when it's highlighted here in blue. And again, you can tag other things like, you can tag like Tennessee Farmers Markets. You can see nothing pops up there. Yeah, so you can find, other things you can tag. You just want to look at them. Here's a bunch of other, farmers markets. You can find all types of things that you would want to tag there for them to see it. You can do them like in a list at the end of your post too. Or intermix it kind of how I did here, where I tagged Boone Street Market within my actual post. It's harder to show on Instagram here on my screen share, but again, you do the same thing. You type that @ sign, and you just select and click the account to make sure they're tagged. So, and this goes for anything you guys want to promote. If you're delivering to a restaurant, or if something's been used, at a restaurant with your product, you want to share a photo they sent you, tagging them in it like that is really good, and that allows them to share it. And Instagram, especially if it's a private account, some people can't share your stuff unless you do tag them. So it is good to do that. All right, I'm gonna show you just some basic good photos that, I've pulled some of these from some feeds, just a little general overview on some products here. This is a good one of bread too, and I want to, can you guys see my cursor when I do this? Can you just give me like Emily, can you see my cursor when I circle this?
Yes, I can.
Good. Okay, so make sure I'm like, you guys see me pointing at the right thing. So that's a good one of bread because it's showing you, like, this is the cheddar swirl bread from Farmhouse Gallery. This is a much better image than just showing like just a loaf of, a loaf of bread is nice, but like this kind of gives you a visual for what it looks like when you cut into it. It's hard to tell what a cheddar bread looks like unless you show us the interior. This was actually from a loaf that I bought, and I just took this when I was using it, and we got a lot of engagement with it. And we actually sold some more after I posted this one because people were able to see the bread, see what it looked like. It's not just a loaf wrapped in plastic before it gets delivered to the market. I like this one here. This is from New Maven Knacks, which is one of our Boone Street Market vendors. I like it because it's showing the process of them creating their product. And so, that can go for you guys who are farmers. That can be you guys harvesting, pictures of you guys harvesting, pictures of you guys washing, packaging up, just so we can see your process and, you see the hands and you can see them working, doing it correctly. They've got their gloves on. Those are little details you want to make sure are happening in your photo. That's why I really like this photo, because it's showing us, their work in progress to end up with their final product. We love showing final products, but again, people want to feel more connected to the product they're buying, and photos like this help with that. And then over here, I like this one because it just shows all of their products at once. It's hard to tell exactly, what each one is, but what's good about this is it kind of shows a wide range here. A Fermenti, that's another fermented food product that we have out of Asheville at Boone Street Market. I like this photo because, again, it kind of, they all kind of fit in here. You could do some zoomed in ones on specifically to talk about what each one is, but it would be good for a post where it says, like, we're delivering 7 new types of, this product to Boone Street Market this week, and just show the wide variety so people can really see what you have to offer.
We've got a question real quick.
Yeah.
So Phil was asking if he tags Boone Street Market, does his post show up on the Boone Street Market news feed?
It won't unless I share it, which I will, most cases will. So if you tag us, it's still going to be in your feed, but then it allows me then to see that you've done that and gives me the ability to share it on my end. So any business that you tag, it's then up to them to reshare it to their feed. Which most social media managers and marketers, especially for farmers markets, will do, because we, again, our whole purpose is to be an incubator to support you guys. So I will often share. You'll see me share a lot of product from businesses who tag us. And I've actually had some people have said, oh, you share so and so's farm a lot, but it's because they tag us a lot, because we really want to share what you guys have going on. So again, it won't appear on our feed unless I share it, which again, 9 times out of 10, unless I am backlogged with tons of things to post in a week, I will share it. But it also then allows your customers to then click our information. So someone who might be a fan of Buffalo Trail Orchard could then see, oh, it's at Boone Street Market. I don't know where that is, but if you've tagged it, they can click on our link to our location and then learn more about us and how to get our product. If Boone Street Market might be a convenient place for them to pick up product of yours too. So hopefully that answered that. And then down here in the corner too, this is just a good variety picture here. This is just showing some CSA items from a different chick farm and orchard. I have it turned to the side of how I turned the other direction if I was going to be posting it. But again, I just like this because it's showing a bounty of what they have to offer this week. So they posted this and they actually tagged us in it and said, these are all the things that are available at Jonesborough Farmers Market this week. So then, it's nice because their customers can see it. And then it's nice for us to share it and say, hey, get some cool produce from a different chick farm and orchard this week. These are what they have to offer in this week's online market. So, just to kind of just to show the bounty of what's available too. So I like that one. And over the next few slides, we're going to cover like how to get some more engagement. So if you realize you're making some posts and not many people are, liking it or responding to it, here are just some general things that are helpful for that. So one, we'll talk about hashtags a lot on here. That's another thing that's hard to really kind of understand. It changes frequently. So these are some really good general tips on hashtags. You want to use relevant hashtags to your product, but not too specific. excuse me, just enough to like attract your target audience. So, you want to tag things like local food, Tennessee food, hashtags, what those are. When you do those little hashtags and you type something after it, this might be just basic for some of you guys, but this is really helpful. People can actually, all those things that are used that have that hashtag are kind of gathered in one place, and people will search those things. I do that as like a food person. I often will be like, oh, I want to see some, fresh pasta. I love to make fresh pasta. So I'm always looking at fresh pasta content. So I'll actually search hashtags for fresh pasta and just see some cool content and recipes I'd like to try. So tagging things that are specific, if you're trying to attract new customers, that's the whole point of hashtags. I mean, is to really help people kind of gather, photos and content in one place to help people find you. So, you want to have things like Tennessee Farmers Market, local food. That way you're going to attract people who are interested in those types of things. I often will tag Tennessee Foodie, especially on Instagram. That's a hashtag that's used a lot for people who live in Tennessee and are interested in a lot of food things. So using things that are really relevant, like using things that are really long and drawn out and super specific are fine if you're trying to be cutesy and it's just like funny to have in there, that is fine. But that doesn't mean that hashtag is going to necessarily help you draw more of an audience. Doing things that are too broad, like just hashtagging like food, is a little too broad. I mean, there's, several billion things out there that have been hashtagged with something that broad. So you might just not receive the right type of engagement with that, or any at all, because it's just in a flood of other posts about food. So you're trying to be, again, you want to think about things that are often used. And also pay attention to local and national trending hashtags at the time. So for example, down here, my example is hashtag only in Jonesborough. That's kind of the campaign that downtown Jonesborough used to promote their businesses. And so, a lot of the businesses in Jonesborough use that hashtag only in Jonesborough. And then folks in Jonesborough know about it because, the town of Jonesborough uses that on a lot of their marketing materials. So people know to search that hashtag or click on that hashtag to see a lot of goings-ons and things that people are up to in Jonesborough. So, that there's probably something like that. I know not all of you are in Jonesborough, but there's something like that probably in all of your towns or municipalities. So you should definitely check out what some of the local ones are. Earlier in the pandemic, a trending hashtag, which I found by just kind of playing around with hashtags on Instagram. So you can kind of, put a hashtag into a caption. You can see how many times it's been used. And ones that are used very frequently, and the most popular ones will always pop up near the top. So you can always type in like hashtag farmers market and like kind of see what comes up after that. It's kind of like when you search in Google, you type in a partial something, things will kind of follow after that. So, earlier in the pandemic, when they're talking about essential businesses and farmers markets being essential, a really popular one being used in the farmers market industry was farmers markets are essential. And so, I haven't used that a ton anymore unless I'm posting, specifically about like our COVID protocols or a photo of someone like masked at the online market or something, I'll use that. But early on, I was posting a lot of those because a lot of people in the farmers market industry were using that. And so, that just helps other farmers markets see our content. And we actually, after I was using that hashtag, other Tennessee farmers markets and other farmers markets in the country actually started following us. So that'll help you get some more attraction from again, to other followers. Having followers is a good thing. So even if it's a farmers market in Oregon that follows you, it doesn't hurt to have followers like that who can, you can follow them back, learn from what they're doing, see what they're up to. It's always a good thing. So again, so just kind of paying attention to some of your trending hashtags and things that are being used in your community. So I often will also just tag like Jonesborough, Tennessee, just so again, people are often using those things to just see things that are going on in their community. And the hashtags, I will want to say here too, I just have a note here just to talk about this. They are most important on Instagram. They are close to irrelevant on Facebook. People don't really use hashtags on Facebook much anymore. They don't help that much. So, I'll often sometimes see posts on Facebook where, it's half text and then half, it's like 20 different hashtags. On Facebook, that's not really helping you too much. On Instagram, it's a lot more helpful. People use hashtags to actually find content and things a lot more frequently than they do on Facebook. It doesn't hurt to put one up there. Our hashtag that we use as a business is Farm Fresh Local. Again, we use that because it's kind of like our brand. It's not necessarily to help people find us. It's more of a brand thing. So I use that on Facebook just to kind of keep our brand cohesive, but I use it less on Instagram because it's not really serving much of a purpose if it's not helping attract new customers to our business. So again, hashtags help customers find you and help you grow your audience. Do you guys have any questions on using hashtags? All right, well, next one, more about engagement on social media. Overall, what I'd like to focus on with people is that social media is just that, it's social. So your page is really meant to be there to interact with your fans and your customers. So, you want, the more interactions you have, the more people will see your content. So what I have here, on the side, you can see this example we had a couple customers comment publicly on our Facebook page, about one of the dinners that we had. Gary here said, wow, that was, an interesting dinner. I always react to it. So I like to use the care react that was introduced at the beginning of the pandemic. I just think it's cute and sweet, the little face like hugging the heart. And I always respond back. So I said, thank you. Like as always, thank you. And, Martha said she really enjoyed her dinner. So I gave a little react to it and said, great to hear. And that does two things. So first of all, like I said, like this first bullet point says, the more interactions you have, the more people are going to end up seeing your content. So, there are algorithms on all these social media platforms, particularly on Facebook and Instagram. Just because someone's following you doesn't necessarily mean that your content is going to appear on their newsfeed. But the posts that have more engagement, more comments on it, more likes, more shares, those ones are more likely to kind of be spat out to more of your followers, and more people are going to see it, and new people as well. So that's why when you have someone who says something, you should say something back, because that's another comment. This would show up as 4 comments on this post, which helps us, with our algorithm and getting more people to see our posts. It also, the other thing is it makes us feel like, again, we're social. We're not just a building that sells stuff. We are part of the community. We want to tell our customers and people who are interacting with us, that we appreciate them, rather than, our social media feed just being there to like spit out information at people. We want to communicate with them too. It helps them feel more connected to your brand, your business, your farm, whatever you have going on. It helps them really feel, again, I know it's something simple, just like commenting back, but people like to see that. They know that they saw your comment, and that you wanted to, just give them an extra thank you. So if someone comments on one of your posts, whether it's, a question, you should always answer a question. Even if it's just something like, thank you, just say like, you're so welcome. Like, we hope you'll, try this again. That's always really helpful to do as your brand. And you always want to make sure you're commenting as your brand. So this happens a lot with people who run multiple social media accounts. That I run into this a lot as someone who has a lot of brands on social media and different pages that I manage. I always want to make sure this little icon here, when you are typing, this will pop up. I want to make sure I'm doing it as Boone Street Market and not as Margie Kendall. It says here, commented, I'm a Margie Kendall. No one can see that except for me. I see that because I'm behind the scenes in my page seeing that. But you want to make sure it's Boone Street Market commenting. You don't want to do it from your personal page. You can if you want to, like in addition to that, but you want to make sure it's your brand that's responding back to them if it was them talking to your brand and not you personally. And we know I talked about this too, but your original posts, if you have an original post, it's going to receive more views than shares. So again, sharing content is really good, but also, maybe asking if, let's say that, sometimes what I'll do if a farm tags us in something, I'll sometimes share it. Sometimes I'll ask them, I'll say, hey, can I use this photo to promote it? And usually the answer is yes, but it helped me because I saw it. You tagged us, I saw it. I'll sometimes download that to my computer and then post it as an original post on our feed and say, hey, look, this is what Buffalo Trail or Orchard is selling at the farmer's market this week. And that's going to actually, the algorithm will show that to more people than a shared post. So original posts tend to get more views in the algorithms than shares do. Just a good thing to know. But also for you guys as brands too, you please feel free to share a post when people tag you. If someone tags you, again, you always want to comment to them, say like, thank you for buying our product. You can like it too, but you also, it's always good to add a comment. So, if let's say that, me, Margie Kendall, I bought some tomatoes, from Green Pasture Farm, and I were to share a photo of like the sauce I made with the tomatoes, and I tagged, Green Pasture Farm. You guys could reshare that and say like, look what Margie made. This is what you can make with our product. Or if you don't want to share it, you don't have to share. Don't feel obligated to share something, especially if it's not in line with your brand. Or if you just have a lot of other content you want to share that week, don't feel obligated. But what you should feel obligated to do is to comment back. So, you as a farm, you maybe want to comment on my post and say like, hey, Margie, thanks for sharing this. That sauce looks great. We're so glad you loved our tomatoes. So again, just making your brand and your farm feel like it's someone who communicates with people. So remember, social media is social. It's not just spitting information back and forth. It's meant to communicate with each other. My last one is just to be consistent too. So, just always, making sure that you're trying to get content out, on a good schedule, create a schedule for yourself, making sure you're posting something, at least one or every 2 days on your different feeds. That's always really good, but also you don't want to overdo it. It's another thing I have here too. You guys shouldn't be posting on Facebook as your brand. I mean, personally, I don't care what you guys do on your personal social medias, that's fine. But as a brand, you want to stick to like 1 or 2 times a day as a brand. And on Instagram, at least you don't want to do more than once a day on your feed. Your stories, if you have an Instagram, your stories, that's where you kind of have that part where you can have a little snippet that appears for 24 hours on Instagram. Stories are a really great way to share more in-depth content. You could share like a whole process of you making a sauce or something, or picking your stuff. But as far as posts go, you shouldn't really do more than 1 or 2 a day on Facebook and 1 on Instagram. Do you guys have any questions about like interacting and commenting with people? All right. Other little tips for getting more engagement. I like this one. Include photos with people in it. So all social media algorithms, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook, always like it better when there's people in it. So, the magic minions behind the scenes, they know when there's a person in your photo, and they will show it to more people. They get a lot more likes. And it also, beyond the fact that it gets shown to more people, it helps your audience feel more connected to you. So, and maybe have a picture of you holding something you guys just harvested. Maybe have a picture of you, delivering to Boone Street, staying outside of Boone Street, making a delivery. People like to see that. They like to see the faces behind what you guys are doing. Our mission at Jonesborough Locally Grown is, again, to support you. So we like sharing photos with you guys in it too, because then it helps our customers and community get to know who you guys are, rather than just, someone who sells squash. We want them to know that, you're a family. All of you guys are running small businesses that are very important and vital to our community, and they want to know what you're doing. So sharing photos of you helps them connect to you. So I included this photo here of David and Marcelo at our market. I posted this one sort of early on in the pandemic when we were, just enforcing masks, and we put up, our big, our glass, cover right there. And this photo was one of our most liked photos of 2020. I think it was our second most liked photo of 2020, with almost 100 likes. So again, that goes to show like we do tons of food. We put tons of food content out there because that's what we do. But again, one photo of people got more attention. And that has to do with the algorithm. And it also has to do with the fact that our customers and people who know the market like seeing David and Marcelo. They're friendly faces that are always in the market. They're familiar with them. So it was nice to, see the guys, and, people below the comments, we're talking to them like, oh, hey, David, hey, Marcelo, like, great work, you guys. Thanks for what you're doing. So people will do that. They almost feel like they can talk to you when you include yourself in the photo. And then this other bullet point here, just sharing personal stories and moments too, related to your farm or not. So this is where it gets like a little tricky, on your brand page, on your personal page, again, you can do whatever on your personal page, but for your brand page, it's nice to share some personal stuff too. Let's say you had like a daughter get married, you can share that with your customers. They might like that. Let's say, you're taking a week off the farmer's market because you're going on a vacation to Florida. I know we're not going on vacation these days, but one day we will, share that with people. They like to feel connected to you. You don't want to overdo it. So again, I always say, like, keep it in mind, it's not your personal page. So don't, share, every day something personal that's happened to you. You want to limit this to some occasional posts. Just helping, again, this is all to say, you want to help your customers kind of understand you rather than just, you're not just, a place that spits out tomatoes. You're a place that, you have real people on the farm who are working hard, and they have lives beyond what they're doing, what you're doing on the farm too. So again, some personal stuff is nice to mix in for that reason. And briefly, I'll talk about Instagram too, just getting more people to engage with that. If you guys use Instagram, I encourage you to play around with the stories option. So that's if you're on Instagram, which I will say too, if you're not using Instagram very much, I think you should be. Instagram is growing a whole lot more than Facebook is these days. It's not growing as much as something like TikTok is, but as far as our demographics of people we might want to attract, there's a lot of them on Instagram. We're getting more engagement on Instagram than we are on our Facebook pages these days. So if that gives you guys any clue, because again, our demographic of interest is probably going to be similar to yours. So if you're not using Instagram a lot for your business, you maybe should. It's a good platform to use. I'm happy to talk to any of you guys individually more about helping to get your Instagram, up and running, create a good schedule and a plan for that. But if you're not using stories, you can kind of play around with it later too. You'll have a little plus button at the top of your Instagram, and then you'll have an option at the bottom for a post or a story. And the story is kind of where you can have those 24-hour little snippets of things that happen. There are some fun things you can add into those stories, like polls, questions and answers, things like that. If you want to check it out later, just on Boone Street Market today, I actually posted a recipe that we did using actually one of Philip's spaghetti squashes. I did a spaghetti squash skillet bake just to feature some various products we had in stock at the farmer's market and at the Boone Street Market. And I just asked a question like, who's ever cooked with spaghetti squash before, and it was like, yes, or like, not yet, just, it allows people to kind of, vote on that and just kind of participate in what you're doing. So people will pay more attention to what you're doing if they feel like they're a part of it. So something simple, just like asking a question of your constituents, whether it's something that's even helpful for you or not. Like, I don't know what to do with the information that someone, if we have an overwhelming number of people who've never cooked with spaghetti squash, then it doesn't really help us out too much to know that, but it just is allowing me to learn a little bit about our customers too, but also it's helping them just feel like they're like interested in paying attention to what we've got going on. Q&As are fun too. You can put a little question box in stories, and you can even say like, ask us anything. And then some customers will ask you questions that you can then publicly answer for yourself, for people on your page, which then may answer questions someone else might have too. And then for all social media platforms, and obviously this is true for Instagram because it's just photos, but definitely on Facebook too, mostly focus on photos to share and less text. If you have a lot to say, that's fine. Like if you want to, if you have a lot you want to update people on, that's great. But you always want to include maybe a relevant photo. Posts that have just text are definitely scrolled past more by customers and people who follow you. And they're also shown less using the algorithms on Facebook. So even if it's something, even if you don't need a photo, if you don't have anything to really share, let's say you just want to share new hours for shopping or just new prices on your CSA or whatever, just share a general photo of your farm or a general photo of your family or just something, because just that will get more attraction. More people are going to stop and look at what you've posted, and also the algorithm is going to spit it out to more people, more customers to see your content. Do you guys have any questions on just getting some more engagement on your social media? We're going to move on here to a couple other little tools and just some example photos here in a second. All right, we'll take questions at the end too if you think of anything at the end. So here's just a couple easy tools to sort of up your social media game, and some phone photography stuff, because I know that's easiest for a lot of us. Not all of us have fancy cameras, but phones can do a whole lot. So Adobe Lightroom is a free app you could download on your phone. You can get a paid version too, and you can pay for filters and stuff. But I like Adobe Lightroom a lot. It allows you to edit photos a whole lot more than just the basic Instagram edits will do. So if you're using Instagram, you can edit some photos there. You can lay on some filters and things on it. But Lightroom allows you to make some quick changes to it, like brighten things up, take down some shadows, maybe turn up the brightness, turn down the brightness, give you some contrast, adjust the color a little bit, and it's pretty easy. It just takes a little bit of fiddling with. I mean, there's a lot of capability with Lightroom, but you can figure out some pretty easy things right away. So I included these two photos here, because I work virtually. I don't go into the store very often. I often have, the guys working at Boone Street Market will send me photos of things, and I often edit them a little bit just because I'm more familiar with like what we're looking for content wise. So, this is a fine photo. This is a photo they sent us of, this week's grab and go menu option. Again, this is a fine photo, but I kind of wanted to brighten it up a little more, zoom in a little bit. I didn't like how, twisted it was. I kind of wanted to straighten it out. So in a matter of about 60 seconds, I went into my Lightroom app and uploaded this photo here. I straightened it out, zoomed in a little bit. I just brightened it up a little bit, so some of those shadows were gone. So you can see it just looks a little more brighter, a little more vibrant. You can see the product a little bit better. And I just liked how it was a little more straightened out too. I did this all on Lightroom in about 60 seconds. So just a good way you can take any photo and just really kind of bump it up a little bit. Some of these photo examples, I'll talk to you about some other edits I've made in Lightroom before, but that's a free phone download in the App Store. Again, you can get a paid version, but you don't need to. I don't use the paid version for anything I do. I use just the free version.
Margie, is this better than using the tools that are on your iPhone?
Yes, definitely.
For editing, because I crop and change the lighting and zoom and things like that just with my iPhone. Is this better?
This is a lot better. I mean, you can do all those things in Lightroom too, but this has a lot more capability. So like I have the ability to do things like when I uploaded this photo to Lightroom, I wanted to brighten up just this scallion here. So I was able to go into a color setting, select the color green, and I was able to just brighten up just everything that was green. So it allows you to be really specific about things. I don't want to brighten up the whole photo, just this, I just wanted to make this look more vibrant. So, you can adjust things that are really specific with it. Again, I'm used to it. So it took me like 60 seconds, but again, you can kind of fiddle with things, and there's just a ton of more capability than just your phone.
Does this app allow you to extract any unnecessary background?
Yes.
Where you could
Yeah, it's a heal feature, HEAL, where you can sort of hover over something that will get rid of it. So I use that a lot for a lot of food photography where, especially with sauces and things, if you get like a splatter that's really distracting on a plate. I'll show you in some of my other photos later where I've edited out a couple things, but you can erase some of that stuff so it looks better using the heal feature on that. Yep. You can blur backgrounds and stuff. It's a good tool. So it's fun to play around with, so it takes some time to get used to. I use it very often, so I'm very used to it. But I encourage you guys just to play around with it and see what you think. It has a ton of capability. In fact, I've used it for years and I still don't use everything because I just haven't dove into all of it yet. But it's an Adobe it's a offshoot from Photoshop. It's much more mobile friendly than Photoshop. So it's the best product out there. So.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Canva is another one. I'm going to actually show you guys Canva. You guys might already use Canva. It's a free product. It's a free system, but you can pay about $10 a month for a pro version, which will have more fonts, more stock photos and graphics and things, but the free version is really helpful. So you can see here, this helps us with social media graphics. So you can see it allows you to upload, I uploaded this photo of this, Eggs Benedict, and I was able to lay our own text over it, our own logo. This taco night one was actually from a prefab, a prefab graphic I just took and just changed it to be all of our information instead of, whatever restaurant this was here. It gave us, I could easily just update, times here and things like that. We do all of our grab and go menus. I built this from scratch. I built this menu from scratch on there using different graphics and texts and color blocks and things. So Canva is really helpful. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this and show you our Canva, just some of the things you can have in that. Let's see. How about exit out of there? Okay. Canva. So here's our Canva home. So it's canva.com. And you can it has all these different suggested things. You could do with Instagram posts, flyers, logos. We've done menus on Canva. All of our menus for our dinners are on Canva. You see all the various things. This is all of my past stuff I've done on it. Here's different templates. So you're for Instagram posts. So I could like almost upload this. So let's say, let's upload this picture right here for Instagram post. I can show you things we could do in our accounts. You know, of course, I would change all of this to be what I want. Let's say like right here, I don't need that. Let's say I don't need that graphic. I want that image. I like that thing, but I don't need like the thing that's typed in it. I don't know how to, let's see. I can make this, I can position this backwards. I don't know if that whole thing goes with it, I guess. But instead of that, let's say, you see on the side here, these are all templates. These are upload section where I can upload, you know, our own photos for things. It includes like logos for things too. So I've uploaded a lot of things here. Some of these, we've used Canva since even before I started working the market. So there's a lot of photos here. I've kind of gone through to clean them up. But like our logos are uploaded in here. I gotta go scroll way down here. But you could upload your logo in here too. I could grab Boone Street Market. And I could just overlay that over here. It's like I want to put my Boone Street Market logo on it. You know, I don't know this girl. She seems really nice. Oh, look at, let's put Phil in the background here instead. You can just like drag and drop your own photos. Instead, hover over it. Yep, there you go. See, now he's in there. I can change this to say, you know, whatever I want. I can say farmers are awesome. Buffalo Trail Orchard, you know, so you can kind of update things to be whatever you want. So Canva's a really nice free tool to make some graphics, and then I can just download this, you know, and I can put it on Instagram, on Facebook, whatever I want. Also, and under this photo section, this is where stock photos are. So you can see you have all these stock photos here. You won't have access to all this with the free plan, but you do have access to some. So I can also, sometimes if I don't have a good product of something, you know, because I always want to get more good photo products of your guys's, you know, pictures of your guys's products. But if I don't have them, sometimes I have to search my own. So I could just say like butternut squash, if we're like going to feature butternut squash. Now I have all these photos I can access for a post. I can be like, we're going to do a post about like roasting butternut squash. I can, you know, upload that or make a graphic with that. So we have access to all of these stock photos, and and these are legal to use. You know, it's not always legal to just search butternut squash on Google and then take whatever photo you find on Google and upload that. I mean, a small farm, you'll be okay with that. But, you know, these are all, you know, licensed for you guys to use. Under elements too, here you can see different things. There's different, you know, you can play around with this forever. There's different images. There's like clip art, lines, shapes, you know, text. You can type new things in. All types. There's some fun text like this you can change. There's a lot of capability with that. You can download things to PDF, to photo, and upload it anywhere. So that's Canva. I could do a whole class on just Canva. I've used a whole ton on that. So if you don't use Canva already, I'd encourage you to play around with it. It's a nice way to make some really clean looking social media graphics that look like you have a graphic designer on staff, but I know that none of you guys do, because that's some big farms have. All right, let's go back here to another tool for photos. I'm gonna show you some more photos using a light box later. This is just good for your phone photography too, is having a light box. I have one of these that I absolutely love. You can see a picture of one right here. You know, I said $50 to $100, but actually this one right here is $30. So they're not even that expensive. You just plug it in, you can control and kind of, you know, it's just like a white box that just kind of beams a ton of light into that. And it controls the light on your photos. I'm gonna talk about phone photography here really quickly before the end of this. I know we're getting close to 7, so I don't wanna hold you guys over too long. But then it helps you really just make really nice, clean photos without light being a problem. So all of these photos here are photos that I've taken of dishes that were in my light box. You can see they're nice and clean. There's nothing, there's nothing distracting in them. You can see everything. There's no distracting shadows or anything. That's because of all that light beaming in there. You know, a basic thing of photography is light is either your friend or your enemy. If you don't have enough, it's hard to get a good photo. If you have too much, it's too blurred out. This really helps you guys really have nice, bright photos. So I use photos of farmers market products, my own dishes that I make using farmers market products and other foods too. I will just stick it in my light box. These are all taken with just my camera on my cell phone. So you can get some really nice photos that way. And again, it says $50 to $100 for one. This one right here is about 30. You can go, if you just type in Lightbox into Amazon, you'll find a ton of really good options. The one I personally use, I have a couple of different backgrounds that I use. I really like it. You know, see, I have the black background here. This is just like a tea towel I laid down on it. Different colored backgrounds you can play around with. Again, this is something that you don't necessarily need, but if you want to kind of up your photography with your food, this is a really fun tool to have. So we're gonna go over some really quick tips and then just some good examples of photos, and that's all we've got for class. So just photographing with your phone, because I know, you know, getting pictures of your products might be one of your biggest struggles, but I want you guys to feel like you don't have to have a fancy camera or photographer on staff to get really good photos that you can share on your social media feed. So number one, like I just talked about, is make sure there's decent lighting. You know, you want it to be bright. You don't want there to be too many shadows. And then you always want to find natural light. It's always better than using a flash. Using a flash, you know, is artificial. It doesn't look as nice. It can get some weird shadows and weird like bounce backs and things. So trying to find a nice natural like light place, a place with natural light is really good. Luckily, you guys are in the perfect business for that, because farming is mostly outside. So outside is the best place to take photos because there's obviously a lot of beautiful natural light. Blurry photos, you know, sometimes, you know, I talked about how like you don't have to share everything you're tagged in. Sometimes I'll get tagged in like a super blurry photo where it's kind of hard to tell what something is, or it's in the dark, and that's hard. You know, that just isn't consistent with our brand of trying to have like some better photos to share. So, you know, I would say not sharing photo is better than sharing a super blurry one. It just looks like you threw something together really quickly. So always make sure your photo isn't blurry. You always want to keep your main product kind of focused and in the center too. I'm going to show you some photos where we'll talk about that, and then keep it simple and not too busy. So I'm going to go through just some examples. I'll talk about what's good, what I like about certain things, what's not good about certain things, and then we can kind of just open it up for discussion or any questions. So let's see some examples. So I took these today just as like an example. So let's say this is my salsa that I'm trying to promote. None of these photos are edited. I took these straight from my phone and uploaded right here. There's no Lightroom, no edit or anything on any of these, okay? So here's what I do and don't like about them. These are actually, Merle, these are some of your tomatoes that I'm actually gonna use for dinner tonight. So I'm pretty excited about that. But in my make-believe world here, this is my salsa I made, it's not. These are, you know, my tomatoes that I grew to make it. So I'm just kind of showing them off together. This photo right here in the very far left, I don't love it, you know, and that's because, again, keeping it simple and not too busy. What I don't love about this is you can see like my day's like random stuff back here. I've got like my breakfast plate still there. I've got some notes I was taking. I've got like the bag that had the tomatoes in it back here. You know, that's distracting. It doesn't look like I put much intention or thought into my photo. You want your photo to feel thoughtful and like definitely the focus of what you were trying to convey. So that's why I don't like this photo. I also don't like the one next to it, you know, that's second here to the left. It's fine, like tomatoes look good, but this salsa is kind of dark, and that's because my light source, you know, is behind me or in front of me right here. Keeping it behind you like it is in this one is better because it's more brighter. But if you take a photo like in front of a bright window, it's going to be really dark and shadowy. I could probably use Lightroom and edit this a little bit, you know, to be brighter. But again, it's always nice to have a nice blank, you know, canvas to work with first. So trying to keep your light, you know, behind you instead of in front of you is better if you have that option. Again, being outside where the light is everywhere is great. This one here, third from the left, so I'll go into the right now. This again, this is using if you have an iPhone or a phone that has like a portrait mode, that's really nice too because it automatically blurs your background. So this is just, again, this is not edited at all. This is just on my phone using portrait mode. And I like this one because it gives a little bit of depth. Again, you're seeing the same background kind of that we had in this first one with all the crap in the background, but you know, the background's blurred out. So you're not paying attention to what's happening there. So again, if you have a phone like that, you know, it's nice to use, but you don't have to have a phone like portrait mode either to really get a good photo. In fact, here's another good one that I do like on the very far right. I like this one, you know, and there's some things about it. I'd probably edit it to kind of brighten it up a little bit. Again, this is not edited, but I like this because while, you know, this is not using portrait mode, it's just showing you don't have to have like a fancier phone to take a good picture. But what I got in the background here, I've got a bouquet of flowers. I've got just my dining room chairs. You can see where my cats have scratched them up, so I don't necessarily love that, but you know. And I've got salt and pepper shaker, which is relevant. You know, it's showing food things, flowers, you know, that stuff is lovely. It's not, you know, my leftover breakfast plate that's still hanging on the table and, you know, all my work from the day. So again, and it's centered, it's focused. You can tell that this picture is about the tomatoes and the salsa. It's not about what's going on in the background. It's not distracting. That's why I like that one. Here's another example. I'm going to talk about some good and bad things about both of these. So this is the spaghetti squash I was referencing earlier. So I did this recipe video on TikTok for our newsletter this week. Again, we'll talk about, if you guys have questions on TikTok at the end, you're welcome to stick around. I can talk about it a little bit. But I like both of these photos, but I don't, so there's one here on the right, the big one where it's zoomed in. The good thing about it is it's kind of showing me the food up close. You know, I like that because it's like, oh, it's up close food. That's really wonderful. But what I don't love about it is there's no context. I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know what kind of vessel it's in. I don't really understand it. So if I'm going to post this one, I'd also want to post this one here. So you can post both of these, or it can be something similar, because I want to see kind of the larger context of what's happening here. If you get too close on something, it kind of loses the appeal because you don't really know what's going on. It's a little too busy. You know, again, this is kind of, it's nice. You can see the details of the spaghetti squash. You can see kind of the glistening bacon, making me hungry just looking at it. But then I want to include this to be like, here, this is our skillet spaghetti squash. And here's a picture of it in the skillet that I cooked with. And I like this photo on the right here because I'm showing it in action too. I'm not just showing my food. I've got this fork sticking out with a whole big bite on it. I actually used my fingers and I put that little lump of goat cheese right there and I positioned that bacon right there so you can kind of see all of the products I was trying to feature. You know, I was trying to feature that Centel's bacon. I was trying to feature that Ziegenwald dairy goat cheese. And so I wanted to put those there so you could see those front and center. And that's a spaghetti squash from Buffalo Trail Orchard. So that's why I kind of like, again, this one on the right is nice because you can, or this left is nice because it's nice and, you know, it's big. You can see everything in detail. But again, without the context, it's nice to add both of these photos at once. All right, and here's from our breakfast at Boone Street Market the other day. I've got some good and bad things to point out here. So, you know, again, our team, I'm always working on social media with our team too, just, you know, so that I work from home, so I get a lot of content sent to me from the people who are in the store. What I do like about this Eggs Benedict picture, this is our trout Benedict that we serve. We heard it was really good. I did not try it, but I'm looking forward to trying it. I'm going to get the recipe from David to feature in our newsletter coming up here soon. What I do like about it is it is up close and it shows the detail of what was going on in the dish. What I don't like about it, maybe you're already predicting this, is that it is kind of cut off on the side. You know, it looks like it wasn't quite intentionally done. I would have much rather liked this photo if I could see the entirety of that Eggs Benedict in the photo. Similar to the one here on the right, you can see the entire dish. If I zoom in too much, again, I miss some of the context. It doesn't look, you know, it would not be centered. I like it how the dish is centered. It's the main focus here. This is the blue grit bowl. It's just really, really nice that, you know, it's all in one. It's not cut off. You know, I like this photo because it being up close and detailed is really nice. But again, I don't love that it's cut off here. It would have been so much better if you just took one little step back so you can see the entire thing in one shot. Here's another one. I talked about having your food in action. So again, cooking your food and also using people. So again, right here on the right, these are some short ribs, some beef short ribs that are braising right here. So I like this kind of overhead shot. You can see the other ingredients that are in it. It makes you want to look like, it looks like you want to eat those short ribs, you know, showing your food being used in a way that makes people go, oh, wow, I want short ribs this weekend for dinner. You know, just using your product in a way that looks delicious is really good. Then here's my sister. I had her pose with these short ribs, just, you know, showing them off. Again, using a person in your photo is good too, because here she is all smiley. You know, this is before we put them into braise. She was really proud of herself because she mostly eats vegetarian, so she doesn't cook things like short ribs very often. And I talked her through searing those. So she seared those up and she was just showing them off. And this is the original here, unedited in the middle. And you know, it was kind of a red tint. I didn't really love the red tint. So this is, you know, I color adjusted it to be a little bit more natural in Lightroom. It's a little bit more, you know, cooler toned there. So I just wanted to show you that you can like take something you don't like. Let's say you like this photo of my sister, it's great, but you don't love it. It's a little bit red toned, just the, you know, the color in my kitchen. You can make quick adjustments. I probably adjusted this in about 10 seconds, just made it a little more cooler toned. And that's all I've got for now. You know, I wanted to just get some good examples for you guys. So just, you know, before you guys go, we're right at about a little over an hour here. So just want to be respectful of your time, but you know, when you're ready to go, that's fine. But I wonder if you guys have any other questions on anything we covered, anything we didn't cover. And then on top of that, even if you can't think of anything right now, please do follow up with me. I'm Margie at jonesboroughLocallyGrown.com. Let me know what else we can do to help you guys with your social media just comfort level and feeds and what we can do. Because again, we want to help you guys feel comfortable and share your products. So more, not even just our customers can find you, but all the customers you're trying to reach. David, you're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Where can we email you?
Margie at jonesboroughLocallyGrown.org. You can just text me too if you have my number.
Okay, I do.
You do.
I can't let you get too far away from me.
No, I'm here.
All right, I gotta go. Thank you very much, Margie. You're awesome. You rock.
Appreciate it.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you. You too. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Emily, wherever you are.
Yeah. Thank you guys for being with us tonight. Feel free to let Margie or myself know if you have any questions. And then I did record this session, so we'll make that available at some point if you wanted to review, or, you know, David, you were coming in and out if you wanted to watch the first 20 minutes.
Hey, Margie, are you going to do some more days?
Sorry, I think I heard two questions at once. Okay, Merle, you want to go ahead?
I was just saying thanks a lot.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thanks for coming, and nice to meet you too. Like I said, I've had a lot of your lettuce, and I'm having your tomatoes tonight, so it was nice to put, again, a face to what I'm going to be using. So
Okay, very good. I'm glad you're enjoying them.
Thanks.
Yeah, we'll see you later.
See ya.
Yep.
Ditto on the thanks. Now just have to have time to do 2 posts a day. So we'll see how it works.
You can just start with 1 too, Philip. It's okay. You don't have to go in with 2. You know, just getting started and getting some out there is a place to start. So don't feel too much pressure.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, and yeah, we'll keep trying.
Sounds good. Thanks, Philip.